This is what makes this so shocking at the time of this. This is the first time that this story is being told so broadly, deeply, and profoundly. I have been asked by my family not to talk about it and not to express myself, but if I want to help people regulate their nervous system and live more authentically, I need to lead by example. So I can't put on a mask like they want me to and pretend that this is not happening. This is happening. This is real.
Having gone through what you have with your brother over the last year, has that changed for you? Do you still feel it's a taboo topic within your conversations with your family? Welcome to the Digital Legacy Podcast, where we talk about death and dying in the digital age. If you ever asked, how do I protect myself and those I love if something unexpected happened to me? You're in the right place. I'm your host, Niki Weiss, and together we'll explore how to protect yourself in a world where both your physical and digital legacy leave a lasting impact. And welcome back to another episode of the Digital Legacy Podcast, where we talk about death and dying in the digital age. And I want to introduce you a dear and lovely woman, Mirta Peña. Mirta, we met on a community, for those that don't know, Skool, SKOOL.com. This is a platform that is inspiring people like ourselves that have a mission, a vision, and a message that we want to bring out to the world. And I wanted to share with you your experience as a somatic therapist, but also a story you have about your brother, Richard, and what got you here. So welcome to the show.
I'm just like in awe that you have made this space, created space where we can have these type of conversations that are completely taboo in many cultures across the world. And so what a privilege that we get to open this space up.
Now, where are you originally from?
So I'm from Dominican Republic, an island in the Caribbean, but I'm currently in Arizona in the United States.
Now, for the topic of death and dying, for the for Dominicans, is this considered taboo?
Huge taboo. Huge taboo. Death and dying is something we don't talk about. We experience it like everybody else, but behind the curtains, that's something that you keep tucked away. You don't want to express too much about it because, it's like you're supposed to be resilient. So you talking about this is just not a thing openly anyway. So yeah, there's a lot of taboo.
And in your family, this is not something you talked about.
No. Ever.
But as a somatic therapist, I mean, maybe talk a little bit about what it means to be a somatic therapist, and then how you kind of got interested in how we started to talk about this topic.
Thank you very much. And so what excites me about what I do is that it's a different way for us to learn about how our body works. Instead of the cognitive way and going a lot about a theory and books and, all these things that we do normally to learn something, we go into the body and we sense the body and we learn from the body how the body works. So we have to create the space. And of course, that takes a process of safety, support, and expansion in that order. But basically, it's an opportunity for us to get to know how the body works. We went to school and nobody over there told us how the body works and how our nervous system is actually in charge of all of our life experiences, all of them. Every decision, every behavior, every sensation, every emotion you ever feel is determined and governed by your nervous system. So I help people understand what that means.
And that's what I was drawn to you, because I am very much interested and engaged in how the body works, emotion, right? Energy in motion. And then we started having a conversation, and within our conversation, in talking about my final playbook and building out resilience within building out a legacy, you shared a very intimate detail about the passing of your brother, Richard.
Yes, I did. And so much of what I just say came together during that conversation. And that is something that is difficult to talk about, but I am excited to share about, because the more we can all talk about these things, the better for humanity it is. The world needs more of this. These days, everything I've been learning about the nervous system regulation and resilience and spirituality even comes into play into this thing.
I feel like I just want to take a moment to honor your family, right? Because I know this is a difficult topic. Um, and and somatically speaking, right, our bodies feel when we start talking about something emotional. So I just really want to honor you and the story you're going to share.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And for disclosure, I do a lot of regulation myself. So I want to say that. And that's how I'm able to share these things with you and everyone. And so I will start by saying that my brother left this world this year, and he was extremely kind hearted, big personality guy. And because he lived so large and successfully and happy all the time, we had no idea what he was struggling with. So this has influenced dramatically the reason why I want to put this out there into the world. And also it has given me the opportunity to see life from a whole different angle, which is it's time for all of us to stop saying that we are okay. How you doing? I'm okay. I'm great. And we put on the mask immediately and just go about life putting different masks all throughout the day. And sometimes we don't even want to put the mask down even when we are in private. We still like trying to cover nicely the things and don't feel the feels. And eventually they kind of like add up. They add up. Think about it like a bucket receiving water, right? There's a specific amount of water that the bucket will take. And after that is an overflow. So that's what we do to our nervous system when we start filling up the bucket with sensations, emotions that we don't want to sense. And my brother, unfortunately, silently, because of our culture and where we come from, learned early in life that expressing all this pain and anxiety that he had and the depression that he had was not safe. It was just not, and he was a man. He was raised to be a man. I'm sure that through the years, he heard many times, men don't cry because that's what my father thinks. And he will actually say it verbally to him. And I will hear it. I grew up hearing that he should be manning up. And so early, he departed from the family. He went on to be a very successful man. He did a lot of amazing things, but unfortunately, all the joy, he was not able to actually indulge into any of the joy of being successful because inside his nervous system was always dysregulated. He was always battling anxiety at the highest level. And when you are stuck in the high energy for too long, your body protects you by pressing on brakes. And we tend to press on the gas as we feel the brakes, like the body don't want to do something. You're like, okay, let me then drink alcohol so that I can put up with this. Or let me browse through the internet. Let me be addicted to something because I just need to put up with this. And eventually the body has an emergency brake, which is what we call depression. So depression is the biggest red flag because it's just telling you that you've been going on full speed for so long. The body wants you to rest one way or another. So the emergency brake, we get rid of that too. We go into pills. That's he got medicated. I was against that a great deal, but I didn't want him to be suffering. So he got medicated for depression. That's one thing. They are blockers. So it's true, you're going to feel less depression. But guess what? Joy is a friend of depression. All our emotions, they're like a gang and they hang out together. So when you tell one of them not to come to the party, you're telling the rest not to come to the party. And then people feel empty and disconnected even more. I'm not implying, disclosure, I'm not implying that people don't need medication. There are clinical cases, and talk therapy is amazing too. But there's many of us, billions of us, that just have a nervous system that needs to be understood. In the case of my dear brother, that was something. He just needed to be understanding what was going on with his body and have the proper tools not to go into despair and unfortunately take his own life with the same medications that were supposed to help. This is just, again, he blocked his joy along with his anxiety and depression. Everything got blocked together. He could not feel anything anymore. And that's, it just creates more hopelessness and helplessness for people that have endured um, traumatic things in life.
To talk about these real things that are impacting, and if it's hard, we can, I want to be honorable to where you're at, but it's just, I think we don't talk about these things until it's too late.
Exactly, exactly. So if I could pause in a parenthesis and say, a lot of us think that others have trauma. A lot of us think that trauma is just when people go to war or something huge happened to somebody, they get attacked, they get sexually abused, and we visualize those things as the traumatic things. But people like my brother and myself that come from a decent family, middle class in an island in the 80s and the 90s, we had nannies, we had drivers, we were comfortable. We don't think we have anything, any traumatic anything, but there's something called complex post traumatic stress disorder or CPTSD, and this is when your upbringing is a little bit chaotic in terms of the people around you that are supposed to care for you not being emotionally available to you. And so when this is present, it also creates a traumatic response from your nervous system. You, when you are under stress, chronic stress for prolonged amount of time consistently in your upbringing while your brain's still developing, while your nervous system fibers are still developing, you develop responses to protect you. Your body is just doing the best job it can at protecting you. And so these responses, they don't stay in your childhood. They come with you along into your adulthood journey until then you can meet those parts of you and resolve and reorganize the parts and therefore the system. So it's a journey that my brother did not get the privilege to go through because, again, in my culture, those are not things you talk about. You don't express these things. You just cope. You get some coping mechanism and you move through life. So I needed to disclose that difference
I mean,
in the traumatic thing.
and when we talk about traumatic, he was probably in his mind. I mean, we don't know what was going on in his mind, but for where he was, the small things he might have been sweating, or there were just, it was a compound effect that he was just worrying about things that he couldn't control.
Yes, a lot. And I was not in his mind, but we were very close. So there was a lot of information that he was able to relate to me all the time. And he was sweating too many small things all at once, all of the time.
And did he ever come to you and say, I just can't take this anymore, or I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't want to be here anymore?
Never, never. He just, this is what makes this so shocking at the time of this. And by the way, this is the first time that this story is being told so broadly, deeply, and profoundly. I
Hmm.
have been asked by my family not to talk about it and not to express myself. But if I want to help people regulate their nervous system and live more authentically, I need to lead by example. So I can't put on a mask like they want me to and pretend that this is not happening. This is happening. This is real.
Let me just take a step back. When your brother took his own life, talk about taboo topic. Like, it wasn't just he was gone. He was gone, and he made that decision. So from where your mother's still alive. So when you say your family does not want to talk about this, this is like real life stuff.
This is real life stuff. And talk about regulation. I have had to be regulating myself around this, of course, not only to hold space for them properly because they don't understand what I'm talking about, and then hold it for myself where I can grieve. I need to make pockets for grieving because grief is a beautiful emotion that we all need to process. Not only about losing somebody that we love, like my dear and beloved brother, my best friend, but even when you have other losses, like, there are things that we walk away from in life all the time, and we refuse to grieve because we have not been told how to hold that space for oneself. So, with my mother and my father, I've been helping them to grieve as much as possible, but that is a personal choice, and they are not there yet. What I respectfully told my mother is that as much as I will never understand the pain of a mother losing a child, and this was my younger brother, by the way, this tragedy is also happening to me. And I need to be able to choose agency. It's huge for healing your trauma, by the way, or your complex trauma. You have to have choices and agency. And I choose to do this interview because it's part of my own healing journey. The fact that I have a voice now, I can talk about this now, and I am not ashamed of it. I feel nothing but compassion for my brother. The pain that led to this is something I will never know about. that I cannot even begin to imagine, because he looked happy until his very last day.
And then let's just take a step back, and the pain of losing him, we need to breathe in. Breathe in his spirit, breathe in the lessons he's left behind.
Yes. Yes.
Because even after the shock and pain of losing him, the story did not end there.
As if that was not enough. It did not end there at all. It just has been more painful. I think that the second part of the story is more painful, because if you are listening to this, or and you have not think about anything after death of anyone, this is the thing that we don't think about, what happens after. And by after, I mean from the last week of the burial up to now, months on end later, it's been nothing but him like dying every week. And I hate to say it that
Oh,
way, but as I need to keep organizing everything and taking phone calls and not having answers, and seeing how scattered all his information is, it's like you don't think about these things. You think that everything belongs to you, so everything is fine until it's not. I cannot believe that I feel so helpless and um, hopeless and helpless around the fact that all his stuff is scattered everywhere, and I have to keep reliving this, and I don't know how long this is gonna last. Because go ahead.
let me jump in just so people understand when you say his stuff,
Yes,
right?
please.
So he died without a will,
No will.
no will. So he died in intestate, no will. So just that alone. He had a child from
Yes.
that in not a marriage situation, so he's got
Yes.
a
And I'm
grown
willing
child.
to I'm willing to share a little bit about that shenanigans, because talk about crazy, crazy stuff. My brother, he was a good looking man. He was the life of the party. He was a magnet. He would attract a lot of people. Bless his heart. God bless you wherever you are, Richard. I love you. And so, yes, his first marriage, he had this child, and the marriage didn't live for too long. They went separate ways. So we didn't hear about these people for 20 years, and they pop up here during tragedy time. And I thought it's because they were feeling, the lady was feeling anything compassionate, but no, she was just like,
She wanted something.
she wanted something that was not even there. Like, I'm like, who are you? What is it? And she's just trying to take over and micromanage me in the middle of my grief. I'm trying to bury my brother, and she's like, oh no, we're gonna cremate him. I got his son. His son gets to decide. He needs ashes. I need ashes. Your mother can have ashes, Mirtha. You can have ashes. I thought I was living inside a movie for a whole week. I was like, this cannot be possibly happening. I, I, I never heard of
That your
things.
family was fighting over, well, that your mother and you had one decision on what to do with his body, and then this
Yes,
woman comes out of nowhere after decades and is
yes.
like,
I have his son, and his son gets to choose how he's going to, how we're going to do this, because you can look at it in the law, Mirtha. Go ahead, go call, a lawyer or something, but you're going to see that we get to choose how we do this. And I say, if you cannot choose with us to bury my brother with dignity, because in our culture, that's what we do. We go a great lengthy way with money that we don't even have right now, because we want to appropriate barrier for him. That's what my mother, the person that gave birth to him physically and brought him into this world, that's what she wants. And that's what we want to do. So please meet us there. And this lady wouldn't back. She say no. She called the morgue. I cannot believe all the places she called to
drama.
try to stop us from doing a proper barrier, out of I don't know what reasons, what resentment, whatever she had in her head or her heart. And God bless her, and I send her love and compassion. But I believe in God. I need to say that many times. And I pray on my knees, and God sent me all the people that knew my brother, that had the ability and the resources to help us make it a reality. And we end up giving him a proper barrier, despite all of the drama. But it was a painful, very sickening situation with this lady, and the back and forth, all because my brother didn't have a will. and didn't write a letter goodbye, nothing. He, like I said, he was in a good mood till the end. So we this is something that nobody can stop or see coming. It's,
And we did talk about that, right? We talked about, interestingly, how people who are struggling and then finally make the decision in their mind that they're going to end their life, all of a sudden there's a level of resolve, joy, like they're ready to engage in life in a way that they haven't before, maybe because they know that their life is going to end.
when you say that that way, it made sense to me. It brought me to see something. And even it made me remember something I told try to tell my family that they still don't believe that he did that. They think this is still some accident of some sort, of course. But I was like, notice how in the last 4 days of his life, notice how he contact key people, the first girlfriend ever, his best friend, people that he had inconvenience with, he reached out to. Though he did it happily, he was happy, but why would he be reaching out to them? And the last conversation with me was about let's fly to the island and have a vacation together. So yeah, my family refuses to believe this or see it or think it. And I know it's going to be painful for a long time to them. But I have come to see, especially after what you say. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. He looked resolved. He looked like it with this peace that came out of a sudden.
And with all this, the resolve he had, he still left you without passwords, left you without with social media accounts over. I mean, these are the things.
Oh,
Oh,
my
these are.
head just
Yep.
thinking about it. So much social media. My brother loves social media. He could be an influencer. Maybe he didn't know it. He did everything on social media. He had probably 6 different outlets, so many accounts. One of the accounts was actually misused for fundraising for his funeral. And I,
Oh,
thankfully, a friend, a very close friend of him, told me about that, and we fought for that to go away. This is one of the many things that can go crazy that we don't think about with people's social media accounts. That's just one of the many crazy things that can happen.
wait, someone set up like a GoFundMe account for your
Like a
brother
GoFundMe account. And
in his honor, but the money was going to them directly.
I guess so.
And then for you, what does that mean for you?
It has been a lot of headaches. It's just a headache, a monthly headache that won't go away, and then the re-grieving with each step. Because now, I had to. I went try to do it legally, and the police was like, "We can't help you." I know I sound maybe probably crazy, but Apple, we can't help you. Go to the court, get appointed. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is, I need help, and I cannot get help from anybody because people keep going back to the same questions. Do you have a will? Do you have a
So you
letter?
went to Apple. Apple wouldn't let you get access to his phone so that he didn't have legacy contacts set up on his phone. So you're dealing with the grief of your brother and you can't get, and people are taking advantage of his likeness, the family tragedy to profit. Oh my gosh.
And I just don't know how much because that was just one outlet that we were fortunate enough to be called from somebody and say, hey, but I don't know the other outlets. I don't know how many more social media accounts he had and what's going on. They all still up. Facebook is up. Instagram is up. And yeah, I cannot get help from any of these companies because they like, do you have this? Do you have that? And I don't have anything. I don't have anything. When I
And
finally got
so,
a password to his email thing, that's still not enough. A password, by the way, is not enough.
so after all this, it's only been a year or just about a year.
Just about a year now. Yeah.
So you're trying to grieve your brother, and at the same time, you're dealing with this password mess, chaos, confusion, people coming out of the woodwork that you didn't invite. And you're just trying to grieve and honor your brother, the life he lived, and still shut it down in a way so his likeness, his identity is protected.
Yes. And I want closure so bad. Not only for me, I want closure for my mother. I want closure for my father. I don't want them to have to continue to see these things or get no like the fake notifications.
There's
All
still
this. all these things are everything is still life. It's life, and it's just ongoing and ongoing and ongoing, and it makes me reflect upon my own stuff. Like, and that's why I feel so fortunate that we cross paths, because I want to know how to not leave this for others, for myself. This is like the biggest pain. It's not only to lose him. I think it's worse what I'm going through in the post losing him, because having to like relive these things and explain it over and over again, getting nowhere. All because apparently a lack of a few steps that I could have taken prior to this. So I plan on like getting the knowledge from you and organizing myself.
It'll be the final playbook. I mean, it's like there's a digital ghost out there of him, like
Yes.
that's not at peace. So here you have his spirit, right? So as a somatic therapist, right, we talk about spirit in our body and how we feel. Emotions are just energy in motion, but from a digital standpoint, th- there's he's a ghost.
Yes. Yes. A lingering ghost is what I will call this. Let me tell you, it's just as painful. I don't know if people understand that part. It's a little bit more painful, because when you are burying somebody, you bury them, you grieve. It's like the ocean. The waves come and the waves reside and the waves come. But when you have these things unresolved and there's no closure here, and this process gets dragged and extended, that grief is not in the natural flow of the waves. That grief is like a tsunami. It's just coming and taking a whole lot of land and sweeping a whole lot of things. So this grief gets amplified unnecessarily, because it's not part of the natural process.
And for your brother, so do you think he understood what? I mean, was he just in so much pain and just felt that he couldn't? I'm surmising here. I feel like I'm kind of channeling him a little bit. It's like I wish I knew. Is kind of what he's saying. Like if people had the outlet, this is what I'm thinking, right? Look, life is difficult. Sometimes we don't want to be here. We're here, but we don't want to be here, and so we might have that split-second decision whether to stay or go. But maybe if we had that space to talk about what it would be like if I left and the impact it would be on those I left behind, maybe we would make that decision.
I agree. I agree. And I think that because, we don't get to talk, or those that have left us in that manner, they didn't get to talk. That's how that happened. They could not express what they were really feeling. And sometimes it's a lot of little tiny things that add up. It's not even a big, big thing. I hate to say it. It's like he had a big thing, because obviously he did this, but it was just comprised of tiny little things, a collection of them. I think that if we all have the opportunity to have spaces where we can be human, more human, less mask, there'll be less burden, things will get lighter, and eventually we'll make, yeah, different decisions. Because I, and I speak from the most humble part of my heart when I say that maybe people don't want to be a burden to others, and that's how they arrive at that horrible decision. But they doing the opposite exactly. This is way more burden.
Well, let me ask you, as a somatic therapist and the work you're doing with your clients, how have you brought this experience into your practice?
I have a lot of clients that are in despair and hopelessness and helplessness. And I try to infuse the sense of, if we just give it a voice, if we notice where in the body is it, we are going to see it's not in the mind, it's not going to feel as terrifying, these thoughts. They are intrusive for a reason, but they are not the real thing. They are perceptions. So I use all this horror that I've gone through, and the conversations I wanted to have with my brother, I use them on the chair with the people that have trusted me with their journey. And I speak from the heart, because I actually care. I want this message to get out there enough where people understand, when we are desperate in feeling that everything is falling apart, it's just one lens that we're wearing. Like, you're wearing glasses right now. but there are many different glasses with many different frames, like this one I'm holding, and we can just change them. We can change them, but we cannot do it alone. And I'm not saying people work with me. I am speaking like a human to other humans right now. Can't do it alone. You need somebody to bring you safety. You need someone to co-regulate you. Our nervous system is so smart. It knows who is regulated and who's dysregulated, and it can choose to regulate with other regulated beings. We just need an empathetic witness, as a matter of fact. Um, so yeah, that's how I'm using it. I'm using my lived experience to actually listen better, be more compassionate to others, and point them in the direction of of hope. Because there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope. I would just say that.
So, having gone through what you have with your brother over the last year, the conversation about death and dying, has that changed for you? Do you still feel it's a taboo topic within your conversations with your family, your current family?
It's still a taboo topic, but I am pioneering it not to be a taboo, at least within my family and with the people that I will know moving forward. Because where before maybe I just spoke about hope and somatics, I now see things like no, there's something called reality, and we need to have these conversations about death and dying, and how do we not leave everything for the last minute? Why are we so afraid to talk about something that we know for a fact is the only thing we have guarantee in life? We all living one time, I'm gonna live first, or you might live second, but we all living nevertheless. We are all departing. So why not plan for it? It's just now, it changed me forever.
And I feel like if your brother did have a plan, if your brother did create a will or trust, if he went through that step-by-step process of, it's doing the administrative pieces, he might have had more awareness or an outlet to work through his despair, to realize that life is worth living, that he has assets and people in his life and people who care about him. Um, to not sidestep that administrative step by step, legal, financial, physical, digital. Did you identify those people who matter to you, know, love, and trust? He might have paused in taking those actions to end his life.
Yes, I think that when we are distracting ourselves constantly, we can easily lose sight of those people that we can have these conversations with. And I have to point out again that my brother kept unfortunately drinking a lot, partying a lot, surrounding himself with the people that are there with you just for the moment. So when you surround yourself with things, environments, and people alike that are just there to numb the moment for you, you end up detaching from the actual people that have your back, because he had a lot of people that care. He had a lot of people that care, that would have given, they're still saying it right now. They would have given anything for him to still be here.
Mm.
He had a lot of people that care. That touches my heart so deeply, to know that a human can be surrounded by loved ones even in the distance, and we cannot feel it when we keep numbing everything out. So I plead people not to disconnect. Go against those parts of you that yell isolation and seek connection. And I know connection can hurt, because trauma happens in connection. Trauma is a result of some connection that went wrong. But I am here to tell you, there's such a thing as safe connection, even with strangers. There is safe connection, and the safe connection is what's going to keep you here, because life can be amazing. Life can be beautiful. Life is supposed to also be painful, because that's how we grow spiritually. So if you're feeling disconnected, reach out. Reach out to somebody you don't know then. But, before giving up on everything, ask yourself the question: am I looking at this thing from a factual point of view? Or am I looking at this thing from emotion? Are my emotions coloring everything right now? Those are questions we need to pause and ask.
That's beautiful. Ah, talk about Like you are a certified human being. Like, so, right? Just you have the
Certified
magic.
human being.
Love it. Well, listen, if people wanted to connect with you, where can they find you? Best place.
Oh, well, thank you. And my school community is called Batey Life. Batey is pronounced Batei. It's a community to attain this, being human. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but hear me out. We are human in 2025, and it's not the same as being human 100 years ago. We are learning to detach more and more from ourselves because the world is scary right now. The world is busy. We have a lot of notifications. We're building a lot of things. We want to do all the things. And in that effort, we are disconnected from the body. We're disconnected from nature. We say yes when we want to say no a lot, and we listen to our inner critics a lot. And if we don't listen to the inner critic a lot, then we are allowing the outer critic to take over too, which that's another conversation for another time. But what I'm trying to say is it's time to come to ourselves and live authentically and even build our businesses from that point of view, the authentic, your authentic voice, your authentic self. And you can only have that if you get to know how your body works. And it's not your fault that you don't know how your nervous system works or what is that or all the parts of it, because in school we don't learn about it. And my mission is to take this education and make it available, widely available online. And the way I can do that is by creating this movement through Batey Life. Batey Life is simply that you're going to have the island type of life where what happens in the island? You know, I'm an islander. In the island, we just want to take a nap. We want to work a little bit, but we want to rest a lot. And we don't do it with shame or guilt because we understand that life is just this one. Even if we reincarnate, we don't get the memory of what happened. So this is the only life we have. We have to live this life. And hopefully, with what I just learned with this horrible experience with my brother, we live this life and we also live it organized as much as possible. So when we leave, those that we care about, those that we love so much, they can have a little bit of peace inside the pain and chaos of grieving.
Mm. And with that, we will put all of your social media accounts in the description so people can find you easily. And with that, Mirta, thank you so much. You're a blessing to me and to the community. And with that, we'll end here. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Niki. Thank you. Such a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Digital Legacy Podcast, where we talk about death and dying in the digital age. I hope this conversation inspired you to take control and plan for the inevitable to protect yourself and those you leave behind. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at digitallegacypodcast.com. Remember, life is full of surprises. What happens after you die shouldn't be. So keep your passwords safe and your playbook up to date.